Last second.
I find no issue with it because, I just got back from the state auditors conference and my jaw dropped because the average salary right now that all state auditors are paying is $50,000. I asked this question, I said, what? Straight out of college, no experience, $50,000. Most of their management team are upwards of $100,000. And
but once that $50,000 salary is
I
straight
have no
out,
qualms
wait,
with paying that. I think it's worth it.
the additional bonus on top of the increase that you're now getting because you managed to get through the legislature are concurrence that we're going to adopt the Kerry study.
And for the office with the 10 employees that you have or whatever number you have, you need 60,000 for the certification or pay, or is that's in the event somebody else gets?
No, that's already funded. That's already funded. That's already in our That's if you turn to the schedule, we're talking 60,264 is the certification pay for 1, 2, 3, 6 individuals.
Okay. I have nothing further. We stand in recess until...
Mr. Speaker, if I just may say, you and I both are very passionate. And I'll miss this exchange. Thank you.
I will need an additional $70,000 just to pay for the certification pay for those on my staff that are qualified. It wasn't in my budget request because I didn't ask for it. But if this legislature is going to leave it in the budget, then I will have to comply and provide them with their certification adjustment, and that would cost the office an additional $70,000. So I just point that out. But I can't tell you how wonderful the 5 Auditor 3s that stepped up to take over the management team of the office has been, and how smoothly it has run since then. They've taken over, and I feel so bad that they can't get one. We can't reclassify 3 of them, 4 of them. I mean, because all promotions and increments were suspended during the fiscal year. So I can't do any reclassifications and give them increments as minuscule as it is by comparison. But it is the Office of Public Accountability, and we have to live within the law, and we will live within the law. And if it is provided to us, we'll provide it to them. If it's not, then we'll have to tell them that it's not going to be provided.
So the BPT of 5%, do you think that can already be brought back to
I have made
4%?
my position about that, and I have said that I don't want it rolled back. I'd like to see what fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021 gives, because as a result of what has happened, we were able to actually also close the gap as a result of President Trump's Jobs Act legislation that took away about $68 million from our general fund. So those were the kinds of things that I am really looking at, Heidi, before, and I, like I have said, I have spoken to many business leaders also, and they are okay with the 5%.
Will that stay at least until fiscal year 2021, so 2022, there might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever.
But also with this, what if that was my son in those pictures? What if that was your son in those pictures? All of this hoopla, having an affair, up the ass, all of that. You know what? Our governor, Leon Guerrero, has proven her insufficiencies in helping the people of Guam. She's ran away from us, asking questions. Why do these rich people get their taxes silenced? They don't have to pay, or they only have to pay a fraction of it, and then they get major contracts. She has not helped the children who can't afford uniforms.
I know.
I just want to apologize. I don't mean to disrespect anybody, especially the Congress.
Many accolades and celebrations. Buenas, Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
And we are freaking excited tonight. It is Tuesday,
Yes.
September 24 in the great territory of Guam, United States of America, where America's FBI Day begins. Now, first of all, we're out of Facebook jail.
Yes, we are.
And so that's why our viewership is up. Because Facebook no longer is suppressing us for copyright infringements. We apologize, Facebook, for such infringements, even though
From the
we
bottom of our
contest it.
hearts.
From the bottom of our hearts, facsimile, we apologize. But to all of you, our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a journey. The past year. The
yeah.
past year
a
has
year,
been
a year and a half, Troy.
Year and a half. Wow, a year and a half.
Or no, maybe a year and maybe 3 to 4 months.
We are sober.
Come at me, bro.
And we are reporting the news, and we have some historic news to report tonight. We are going to do away with all of our segments and any other news that we had today, including dengue, because of the historic nature of tonight's news. I didn't even prepare my own teleprompter. So the first story that I'm going to bring you, this is all regarding the Jesse Blas thing. I'm just going to read from my laptop. I hope you'll indulge me as I read this, and then we're going to
I just want to let everybody know also, if you haven't been following Kandit from the get-go, we really are into police and public corruption, government corruption. That is what hurts this island.
Oh, yeah.
So that is our main. That's our main thing. That's what we fight for. So that is why this is a big deal for Candid News.
Is my phone casting interfering with the stream, Cello? I'm getting a comment on that.
No, it's there provided.
Okay.
Maybe your video and they're hearing both.
From the microphone, right?
Yes.
You guys, I have to leave the watch party just for a second. Okay, I'll be right back. Ready?
Ready?
Jonya Mayor Jesse Blas was arraigned at 3 p.m. today before U.S. District Court of Guam Magistrate Judge Joaquin Manabusin. Mr. Blas's whereabouts the past week since his recently unsealed indictment and arrest by the Federal Bureau of Investigation have been unknown to the Mayor's Council of Guam. We haven't heard from him in a few days, Mayor's Council Executive Director Angel Sablan told Candid News Group today. Mr. Sablan did see Mr. Blas at a medical fundraiser for Tumuning Vice Mayor Ken Santos last week Friday. According to the grand jury indictment against Mr. Blas, a federal confidential informant, only known as Brenda, posed as a major drug dealer and conspired with Mr. Blas to allow her to use U.S. Postal Service mailbox within the village's cluster box system. This is where Brenda would have methamphetamine mailed. Mayors facilitate the use of the mailboxes within each village's cluster box system for the USPS. They are not supposed to charge residents for the use of boxes unless the resident needs a replacement key. Mr. Blas charged Brenda for the use of the mailboxes, and knowing that the mailboxes would be used to receive drugs, told Brenda that as the mayor, he had the authority to change up the mailboxes she would use to avoid suspicion and detection by postal inspectors. The conspiracy began before November 21, 2018. On that date, though, Mr. Blas received $300 from Brenda for the assignment of the mailbox to Brenda. On December 11, 2018, Mr. Blas received $2,500 from drug proceeds of the sale of drugs coming through that mailbox. The payment from Brenda was for her continued use of the mailbox. On December 20, 2018, Mr. Blas received another $5,000 from Brenda in exchange for continued use of the mailbox. On January 12, 2019, Mr. Blas received another $4,000 from Brenda for the mailbox for use in drug trafficking. On January 15, 2019, Mr. Blas offered to sell access to another mailbox to Brenda and her purported unnamed associates in exchange for $15,000. On March 21, 2019, Mr. Blas told Brenda that if he did not receive $8,000 from her, that Mr. Blas would discontinue Brenda's access to the mailbox the next morning. On all of the dates listed above, the FBI intercepted phone calls from Brenda to Mr. Blas via wiretaps in which Mr. Blas, quote, did knowingly and intentionally use and cause to be used a facility or a cell phone in interstate commerce with the intent to promote, manage, establish, carry on, and facilitate the promotion, management, establishing, and carrying on of bribery. The United States Attorney for Guam and the CNMI, Sean Anderson, and his prosecutor, Laura Sambataro, provides a notice of forfeiture in the indictment to seize all property of Mr. Blas that was derived from his illegal dealings. Mr. Angel Sablan from the Mayor's Council told Kandit News that Mr. Blas has not resigned from office as of yet and that the mayor is, quote, innocent until proven guilty, unquote. He did, however, say that should Mr. Blas be incarcerated for a long period of time, rendering him incapacitated to perform his duties as mayor, Mr. Blas either may resign as mayor or be removed from office according to the laws of Guam. In that case, there will be a special election held within 60 days of the vacancy, but it's premature at this point to plan something like that, Mr. Blas said. Turning to you, Chalu.
The informant named by the United States Attorney as Brenda in the case against Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas is the same informant who led the Federal Bureau of Investigation to former police officer John Boom Matanonya. The case against Mr. Blas and Mr. Matanonya, though not necessarily related, are part of a larger public and police corruption case by the FBI. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office have been building a racketeering case since October 28 last year, when Assistant United States Attorney Rosetta San Nicolas applied for and received authority to run a secret grand jury from the District Court of Hawaii. Kandit News first brought you this story in February this year when we found the documents that started what we reported to be the largest investigation into police and public corruption in the history of this territory. Mr. Blas was indicted by a federal grand jury and arrested last week on extortion and bribery charges linked to major drug trafficking. The charges detailed by federal prosecutor Laura Sambataro in the grand jury indictment included his use of public office to facilitate drug crimes in return for thousands in bribes. Though drugs are involved, this isn't merely a drug case. And while Mr. Blas is the mayor of Jotnya, who used the color of his authority to facilitate these crimes, he also is a former high-ranking captain in the Guam Marshal Service. Mr. Blas, contemporary with the Marshals and his close associate, is current Deputy Director of Corrections Joey Terlahi, who is the son of Senator Pito Terlahi. Senator Terlahi also is the former mayor of Jotnya. Mr. Blas was led to his arraignment today in handcuffs by FBI and Homeland Security investigation agents, a signal to accomplices of the lesser drug crimes that their cooperation in the larger investigation into police and public corruption will be taken seriously. Boom Matanonya, within days of Ms. Nicholas's grand jury starting in Hawaii, the FBI began running hundreds of wiretaps involving drug informants and police and public officials. Kandit News stumbled upon the finding in late December, following a court hearing in the Martinez and Moser case. During the Martinez case, FBI Special Agent Josh Kipp took the witness stand and testified against the defense investigator, Mr. Matanonya, and alleged his involvement in jury tampering during that trial. Prosecutor Fred Black and Mr. Kipp repeatedly pointed out that the evidence of Mr. Matanonya's jury tampering was found by the FBI in a series of wiretaps from an investigation completely separate from the Martinez case. Kandit found these admissions to be odd, so we kept digging. Government Exhibit 2A, 3A, which is a CD containing what are known as Call Session 38 and Call Session 51, was entered into evidence in that trial. The call sessions from this FBI investigation, which had nothing to do with the Martinez trial, were recordings that were transcripted and represented excerpts from a sequence of wiretaps. Call Session 38, according to the transcripts released in the Martinez case, was recorded on November 1. Call Session 51 was recorded only 10 days later on November 11. Within the span of 10 days, the FBI had captured at least 713 wiretapped conversations in this massive investigation that has been happening since this case started last October. Federal investigators first learned of Mr. Manzanonia's police corruption from a drug informant who had ties to Mr. Manzanonia, who facilitated a drug trade with him and with others. Mr. Manzanonia's nephew is Guam police officer Jimmy Manglotnia, who until recently was a member of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency Task Force. He has been removed pending a federal investigation into activities. Mr. Manzanonia's brother-in-law is Guam Deputy Marshal Alan Eckley, who was removed from the Warrants Division of the Marshal Service following news of his role in the sexual enslavement of women on the run for outstanding bench warrants in the Superior Court of Guam. Federal investigators also raided the Marshal's Division recently. Armed with a federal warrant, they seized the hard drive of a computer accessed by Mr. Eckley. Mr. Eckley is also implicated in the shooting death of Brandon Ojeda, who was on the run from the Marshals for a bench warrant. Transcripts of conversations between Mr. Ojeda and Mr. Eckley showed that on the day of a search to apprehend him that led to his death, Mr. Ojeda told Mr. Eckley that he would be turning himself in. Brenda, the confidential informant who led the FBI to Mr. Manzanonia, also led the FBI later to Mr. Blas on November 21, 2018, only 20 days after call session 751. The FBI intercepted via wiretap the call from Brenda to Mr. Blas, where they discussed his bribe to Brenda for the use of a U.S. Postal Service mailbox in Jotnia to facilitate drug trafficking. Brenda paid Mr. Blas $300 that same day to access the mailbox for the first time. A series of transactions in the thousands occurred then and March 21 of this year, when Brenda paid Mr. Blas for the mailboxes. On March 21, Mr. Blas extorted Brenda, threatening that if she did not pay $8,000 to him that night, he would discontinue her use of the U.S. mailbox. The wiretaps believed to now number in the thousands continued through that time and continue to this day. Police corruption. For nearly a year, it has been speculated that a special team from the FBI field office in Honolulu was leading an investigation into police and public corruption in Guam, to include local Drug Enforcement Agency agents. Within the past several weeks, the DEA released police officer Jimmy Manglotnia back to his GPD job and away from the DEA task force. Mr. Manglotnia recently was the arresting officer over Dedido resident Leighton Borja, who was raided and apprehended at the ranch in Dedido. The warrant affidavit for Mr. Borja by Mr. Manglotnia said that Mr. Borja was in possession of a large quantity of methamphetamine. When apprehended, Mr. Borja was not in possession of any large quantity of meth. A search of the grounds of the ranch produced 2 grams of meth, which hardly is enough for personal consumption for one person and certainly is not evidence of drug trafficking. Mr. Manglotnia was part of the former Mandania Drug Task Force, which recently was disbanded by Police Chief Stephen Ignacio. The task force was notorious for warrantless searches, false affidavits to secure warrants, and the targeting of personal and political enemies of the officers of the task force and political enemies of elected officials. Officers are accused of trumping up charges against citizens, stealing money and drugs from those they arrested, and stealing vehicles. Guam police officers Sang To, Steve Munoz, Keon Pangilinan, Chris Champion, Benny Babauta, Fred Chargaloff, Shauna Dudu, Jimmy Manglotnia, and Joey Uggan, as well as Customs Officer Gene Egros and Port Police Officer Kylie Maurer, are all the targets of this massive FBI police corruption case being routed through St. Nicholas's Hawaii grand jury. Joey Terlahi, the case involving Mr. Blas, also involves the prison's deputy director, Joey Terlahi. This particular case implicates Mr. Terlahi in drug trafficking activities using his authority as a former high-ranking deputy marshal and now as a cabinet member in the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration to aid in the trafficking of methamphetamine to and within Guam. Brenda, the confidential informant, also involved in the conspiracy. Mr. Terlahi's father, Senator Pito Terlahi himself, a former Jotnya mayor and retired Guam police officer, employs Charissa Tenorio, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio's only sister. Kandit News recently uncovered a corrupt contract between the Mayor's Council and Mr. Terlahi and Ms. Tenorio for carnival security services. Ms. Tenorio also had a separate contract for grounds maintenance of the carnival. Both contracts are subject of an audit by public auditor BJ Cruz. Police corruption, the FBI, and Ms. Nicholas are cleaning house on Guam. The root of the Hawaii grand jury was a separate case involving Guam Resource Recovery Partners President Wagdi Gurgis, who pled guilty to tax evasion in Hawaii. It was in the days following his cooperation agreement that Ms. Nicholas began the grand jury there. Mr. Gurgis' cooperation includes his knowledge of corruption in the attempt to violate the antitrust laws of Guam in order to begin a multi-million-dollar contract for an incinerator project. Former Governor Eddie Calvo's first cousin, known as Champ Calvo, was a consultant for the deal. His former law partner and attorney for GRRP throughout the Calvo administration, Arthur Clark, was Governor Calvo's chief policy advisor. Champ Calvo's involvement in the drug trade also has been noted in previously and still sealed cases in federal court. Since 2012, federal raids at Mr. Calvo's law offices and Calvo's insurance and depositions taken in the Henson Helicopters case and the Prestige Automobiles case implicate members of the Calvo family in one massive corruption case involving the Calvos and members of local law enforcement and at least 3 attorneys. Former Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, in separate matters, is the subject of investigations of police corruption, extortion, and bribery. Ms. Tenorio's habit of using his authority over the Guam Police Department while he was the Lieutenant Governor of Guam to target political opponents and to cover up illegal activity of members of the Calvo administration is being scrutinized right next to his campaign finance extortion crimes. Who's next? Sources close to Kandit tell us that Mr. Terlahi and Mr. Minglotnia are next in this historic federal crackdown of police and public corruption on island. What we know with certainty is that this indictment of Mr. Blas simply is the second in a series of indictments that will be issued under this FBI investigation. There will be no deals offered to the major players of this racket. The feds are building a RICO case with every one of these separate cases they are bringing. This is the day of reckoning for the corrupt of this island. Kandit cannot be happier for Guam.
Nice story.
Thanks, Cello.
My heart is jumping. It is just jumping. And, well, so one of the reasons that we are very proud to bring you this story tonight, aside from, of course, the justice angle, is the See We Told You So angle. Now, back in February, we first brought you this story about the Hawaii grand jury, and no media outlet, no matter how loud we were about this, I believe I even had a news conference about this, and no media outlet covered the fact that this Hawaii grand jury exists against public corruption in Guam.
We actually have the video of when we talked about it.
So I swear to God, I put this shirt on way before we found the video.
Yeah.
And it's the same shirt that I wore the same night that we did this live stream. It was on my personal page. We were casting from my personal profile at the time. Let's play this. I get a little vulgar in it because this was, before I had forgiveness in my heart, and now I do. Well, anyway, let's hear the video. Let's watch the video. Because there's something you don't know about, and I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna read this motherfucker to you right now, and you're gonna wish you never did business with some people, because they are singing like fucking canaries right now. Did you know that how did I get to this thing? That on
iBooks.
It's an iBooks?
Yeah.
Holy shit, technology and iBooks. Books?
Yeah.
God, it takes the crescendo out of everything. All right, here we go. Here we go, boys and girls. Champ, are you listening? You may want to buy yourself a one-way ticket to wherever they do not have extradition treaties with the United States. Sean N. Anderson, United States Attorney, District of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands. Rosetta L. Nicholas, Special Assistant U.S. Attorney at 108 Hernan Cortez, Suite 500. That's the United States Attorney Office on Guam. Filed in the United States District Court, District of Hawaii. Hawaii. October 29, 2018, at 3 o'clock and 45 minutes p.m. Sue Betita was the clerk who accepted this filing. In the United States District Court for the District of Hawaii in regards to the application of Rosetta L. Nicholas to practice before the court. Why would the U.S. Attorney from Guam want to practice before the court in Hawaii? Let's find out. Miscellaneous number 18-00429 SOM-RLP. Now, any of you who are attorneys who are representing anyone in any drug cases in federal court may want to write this shit down, because you're about to know who your snitches are in all of your cases for your clients. And you're going to want to tell your clients so that your clients can get some justice for the rest of us and themselves. Application to appear on behalf of the United States, Declaration of Rosetta L. Nicholas, order. Pursuant to LR 83-.1D of the Local Rules of Practice for the United States District Court for the District of Hawaii, Rosetta L. Nicholas, Special Assistant United States Attorney, notifies the court of her intention to appear before this court on behalf of the United States and to attend to the interests of the United States during the period of her appointment as a Special Assistant United States Attorney, and applies for leave to do so, dated October 29, 2018, at Honolulu, Hawaii, by Sean N. Anderson, by Rosetta L. Nicholas, Special Assistant U.S. Attorney. Rosetta has been pretty damn busy. On October 29, she was granted the application on the same day that she filed the application, and has been running a grand jury ever since. Now, why is that important? And how does that apply to Champ Calvo? Well, can I just read more of this just for dramatic effect? Because I kind of have a little orgasm whenever I think of Champ Calvo taking a shit in his pants, because that motherfucker is going to jail. Declaration of Rosetta L. Nicholas. Number 1, I am an attorney employed by the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands, and have been appointed a Special Assistant United States Attorney with the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Hawaii Department of Justice. By the way, you know how we found this? Because we were trying to find some shit, and like when we were putting the puzzle pieces together, like it just didn't make sense that some of the pieces were missing. So we're like, where the fuck is everything? And then one of my friends had this brilliant idea to do a global search on Pacer. And what the fuck do you know? A United States attorney from Guam is running a goddamn grand jury out of Hawaii. Why would they need to do that? Because they don't want anyone on this island to know that a grand jury exists to start indicting the biggest fucking case that this island has ever seen in its history. And its target is Attorney Eduardo Champ Calvo. You're gonna be a champ in prison, I'll tell you that. They're gonna fucking like you and your fucking bulked out knees. They're gonna have you on those fucking knees, sucking some fucking dick while Bubba is having you take it up the ass, you motherfucker. Number 2, I expect to appear on behalf of the United States and to tend to the interests of the United States before this court. Number 3, I am an active member in good standing of the Bar of the U.S. Territory of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands, and declare upon penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct, dated October 29, 2018, at Honolulu, Hawaii. Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Rosetta L. Nicholas. Bravo, Rosetta. I am cheering you on, baby. I think, holy fuck. If anyone knows Rosetta Nicholas, I need you to give her some puga and make her like some good zaria, because she is doing the people of Guam a fucking favor right now. Why is this date, October 29, so important? Here's the order permitting the practice, et cetera, et cetera. See it? Yeah. Full page ad on Father's Day in his honor. Oh, it's like what Stephanie Anderson did that one Father's Day when she said Happy Father's Day to Champ Calvo. That Stephanie is his mistress, who Champ houses in California, and she got herself on a magazine because she likes to wear Hermes, and she has a Birkin or whatever the fuck that dumb fucking bag is. Bitch, you're ugly. You're fucking ugly. That's why you need that Chanel and that fucking Birkin to cover up the fucking ugly. You may want to apologize to Champ's wife, you dumb fucking husband-stealing whore. And don't fucking take out a fucking Father's Day ad. Have some fucking respect, you dumb fucking cunt. So, on October 29, Rosetta gets this designation the same day that she files for the application. And on October 30th, you know what happens? An indictment against Wagdi Gurgis. Wagdi Gurgis, why does that name sound so fucking familiar? Well, maybe because for the past 30 years, Wagdi Gurgis has been on the news in Guam trying to build a fucking incinerator on this island. An incinerator. I know, God's gonna kill me with these cigarettes, but... Or Champ is gonna kill me or something, or like, you know, Joey, whatever. So, Wagdi Gurgis been trying to build an incinerator. You know who's been helping him? Champ Calvo. Champ Calvo has significant interests in a company called GMP. And he's their attorney, also an investor into GMP. And you know who else has been paying him? Guam International Airport. And according to filings in Honolulu, baby, can you do the face thing again? Because I'm sorry, I know.
It's okay.
Thank you. I love you. Okay. So, wait, let me go back to photos where the shit is. This is Johnny's daughter's phone. It's not Johnny's phone. I'm not like, I ain't ever gonna open up the photos section in Johnny's phone. There's gonna be some freaky ass shit there. Here are exhibits. Exhibits in the Wagdi Gurgis case. Now, Wagdi Gurgis, by the way, was indicted for tax evasion in Hawaii. And no one really knew about it because the feds didn't unseal it for a while. But guarantee on the day that it was unsealed, I was waiting. So, Wagdi, good old Wagdi, like Al Capone, the feds needed to take him down and get the rest of the shit he knows through tax evasion. So learn a lesson, criminals. If you're gonna be a criminal, just don't do tax evasion, because that's how the government's gonna fuck you in the ass. Just like the prisoners are gonna fuck the cowboys in the ass as soon as they get in there. So here is a screenshot of an exhibit in the Wagdi Gurgis case. I know my nails are dirty, I know. Exhibit 4-4, summary of Guam International Airport Authority checks deposited into GMP at Guam account, First Hawaiian Bank number 8216. Exhibit 10-2, summary of Guam International Airport Authority checks deposited into GMP Guam FHB number 8216 and FHB number 32342. Two accounts, huh? And that was in 2011. On August 19, 2011, Guam International Airport Authority, $240,369.88 check deposited into GMP Guam Incorporated account FHB number 8216. Guam International Airport Authority, this is Exhibit 12-7. I forgot about all of that. I really forgot about a lot of that stuff.
I didn't.
I don't know if you could tell in that, but anyway.
Let's not talk about that. I just want to say, how's that for a fucking tabloid?
Yeah. Turns out to be true. Turns out to be true.
They can suck it. You guys can suck it.
Hey, Mayor. What's up? What's going on? I voted for the guy in 2016. I was a Georgia resident.
I personally know. I personally know Jesse. He is almost like an uncle.
Okay.
I am related to one of his children.
Okay.
I know his ex-wife, and I know the mother of his child, and then I also know him through my ex-in-laws.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've known him since I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old.
When he got himself in a pickle.
Yes, he did.
He got himself in a pickle. There's a confidential informant who is the same confidential informant across the board. And not necessarily throughout this FBI investigation, but at least in its
You know
early
what I
stages.
think? I think the feds are like, everybody's fucking just connected or doing something. And I think as they're going along with this investigation, the people are just popping up into these.
Yeah.
And so it's this web of corruption, government corruption, police corruption.
And that is the nature of a RICO case. So they're not going to plead out the top players in this thing. They're going to take them to court.
All the way.
And it's from these court cases that they're going to establish a RICO case for its top people.
Right.
And it's just...
And the main reason why is because of maybe that, well, yes, that person is guilty, but it's their legs and their arms that give people like Chris Champion, Keon Pangilinan, Benny Babauta, all these people who...
Whaley Maurer.
Yeah, Kylie Maurer. They give them this power, which they mistreat everyone. And I'm a victim. I'm not saying that I'm an angel, because I'm not. I've pled guilty for the things that I'm guilty of, and I've come to terms with who I am, and I'm not in denial. But I'm fighting that demon. I dance with mine every day. So no one deserves to be treated the way these officers have treated them. Nobody. And if I have to fight till my dying day, fight for all of us, that's what I'm doing, and that's what drives me, and that's what drives me to do what I do on Kandit. Because it's eaten up. This whole island has been eaten up by all of this, and it's about money. It's about power. You okay, Cello? Why are you crying?
I'm happy. I'm really happy. This is the start of a massive federal takedown of corruption on this island. And it's happening for the past few months. Johnny and I and Eric, Carlos, our friends, we've been wondering, what the fuck is the FBI? And they've been working this whole time. They're probably like, shut the fuck up, Troy. We're doing our jobs. Oh, so I'm so happy about this whole thing. So
I think I'll feel that way as soon as Alan Eckley's behind bars.
that one's a major one. Yeah, that one. That's
And everyone
an
else that
evil,
helped him.
evil
Jimmy
person.
Manglotnia, Chris Champion. As soon as all those MFs are behind bars, I'll be okay.
There was something. So hold on, I think it was in your comments. You guys reminded me about something that I wanted to bring up that's related to this. God, I can't remember. Do you remember? Did I tell you what I wanted to say right before we went on? No. Oh, that's right. This notion of self-government. Now, consider this, people. Okay, I want you to. I used to be. We just passed 3:02. I used to be an advocate for independence for this island. I'm still an advocate for I'm still an advocate for self-determination. But whenever we get that vote, I ain't voting for independence. There's no way. And it's because of what happened to me, what happened to you, what happens to so many people on this island. Because Congressman Nicholas is right. We have not demonstrated a capacity for self-government. When our own government officials use the power of the police, which is the most severe form of corruption in any society, when they do that against their own people, then we've lost any measure of self-government. Self-government is a joke so long as we elect people who use the police to their means for their political opportunity and for their personal enjoyment and benefit. Self-government is a joke. So until the day that we can rid ourselves of these monsters in office by electing other people who will respect our ability to govern ourselves peacefully, with pride, with vision, then
as well as we cannot be a society of if I'm doing good, everyone else around me has to be doing good. Guam has a society where the people that are doing good, as soon as they see the people at the bottom coming up, they're pushed back down.
Yeah.
And that is Guam's society. So until we can enjoy, everybody can enjoy coming up. And coming up, not everybody's going to be rich, but at least everybody's going to get a piece of the pie. Until we can look at ourselves and say, yes, we're the problem. It's almost like white supremacy or what is it called when the white people think, Guam has that. It's the white people looking at black people and saying, there's a white, what is it called when you're given things? It's like they're fed on.
Entitlement?
Yeah, like, and because white people don't go through what black people go through. Same thing here on Guam. There's a society, there's a first class citizen and a second class citizen.
Yeah.
But I know. Hey, wait.
Do it to themselves.
Yeah, but I know I'm a second class citizen. I ain't even trying. But I'm not even trying. I'm okay there, but I'm gonna fight for everyone else because as long as Guam is that way, even with our own governor Troy, she doesn't. This thing about the Medicaid funding, about even this dengue fever. People,
Taxes.
the taxes, people weren't given the second-class citizens weren't given the information when they should have been given the information.
Yeah.
They were allowed to have all weekend to take care of themselves. And then we find out on Monday, and when we go to the shelves to buy the medicine to get rid of these mosquitoes, it's gone because they got to it first.
But you know what, Chalu? This Saturday at the Ganya Shopping Center, you
No,
can
fuck
join
that.
them
Fuck you.
for Prepared, Not Scared.
There you go,
the
white
celebration,
privilege.
White privilege.
That's what it
the
is. Thank you, Amy.
celebration of National Preparedness Month. And in the middle of this dengue crisis that they cannot get a handle of,
I don't
they have
know
no control of.
who
They
told
want
them
to
we're prepared.
Fireworks. They want to plunta their joy all over that they are doing such a phenomenal job.
And guys, please stick with us. Kandit, we'll never leave anybody behind. There's a
Unless
goal.
you try to screw us.
There's a goal, and that's to get everybody informed. There's more of us than there are of them. Trust me.
Amen. Amen. We have no other news tonight. We did not prepare for anything else except this. Tomorrow we
Mr.
bring
Lebowski says,
Oh yeah, comments.
I'm with you, Johnny. Fuck
Hell
the
yeah.
fuckers.
Hey, 320. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Let's see what the comments are.
And thank you, May Doreen. She gave me some repellent for my kids so they can go to school tomorrow.
Pago Bay, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Jason
Thank
Nicholas.
you and Justin.
Hi, Danny Taiting Fong, Arian Camacho.
That's my first cousin.
Danny Taiting Fong?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, first cousin. Mr. Lebowski, Destiny Farnham, Babe, Jamie Timinglo. Anthony Mendiola says, I hope my wife is not part of this circle. Mike Rajanski says, the feds are having a field day with Guam corruption. I hope they take everyone down. If it includes me, I want to be taken down by Special Agent St. Nicholas.
Oh, and Anthony, just a comment to your comment. She's married to you, Cello. She's part of us, Cello.
Yes, she is. Hi, Dr. Bavakwa. Hi, Carl Fukuda. Hi, Amy Jackson. Chris Saunders says, money is the root of all evil. Like FR?
Like for real.
Oh.
For real.
Sorry.
You know, I honestly don't think money is the root of all evil. I just think what you do with it, you know?
Our auntie from another auntie says, now we're going to have our own Kandit fireworks. Mike Rosansky says, Ukan Chari White Chip Newit. That means I like... Oh, no, I'm not going to read that. You guys can read it yourselves in the comments.
Auntie Janice says she's very proud of you and she doesn't understand why she can't comment on Kandit. She's not blocked or anything.
Well, she should be top fan.
Yeah. Auntie Janice will find out why, but she says she's very proud of you. Very proud
Thank
of
you,
you.
Auntie Janice. Charlie Alex says, Biba, Troy, Johnny, and Kandit News Crew in Biba Feds. Biba Federal Bureau of Investigation. Biba Prosecutor Rosetta St. Nicholas. Biba United States Attorney Sean Anderson for doing the people's work. Rissa Delgado Castro says, Mike St. Nicholas is a smart man. Our auntie from another auntie says, Biba Congressman Michael St. Nicholas. Biba Kandit.
Biba Congressman.
Michael Zansky says, if Bill Clinton can get a blowjob, so can Michael St. Nicholas, Biba MSN. Brian Orland says, someone should throw Champ in that fucking incinerator. Agreed. Sabine Chargaloff says, are you sure they're going to end up in prison or they too will end up with house arrest? Oh, well, it is Judge Frances Tidinkle Gatewood. She is known to be kind of hard. If the case is
She's
thrown
hard
to,
on people who don't have support. People who have support and letters and in the inn and in. Come on, Troy.
So then Sabine might have a point here, unless this case is thrown to CNMI federal judge Manglonia.
I like her.
What's her first name?
I really like her.
I was gonna say Vicky Lynn Manglonia.
She stuck it to what's his name? What's my lawyer's name?
Jay Ariola.
Jay Ariola. She said, why do I need to remove myself? I'm gonna go on the facts of the case. I'm like, yeah, you tell them, Judge.
Mr. Lebowski says, I'm with you, Johnny. Fuck the fuckers. Chris Saunders replying to Sabine says, we shall see too many leaders on Guam are corrupt, but the FBI is coming after them.
And don't forget that asshole guy from Customs. What's his name?
Gene Eagers.
No. The guy that he was looking at 85 years and he got 12 months or something.
Alvendia.
Henry Alvendia. That was also one of the biggest corrupted mother effers on this island. And he did get away with a lot. They did not even take his stuff.
Oh, it's forfeiture, right? They
Nothing.
gave it to him.
They let him have
And
it
they only
all.
gave him 18 months. And it was the most, until now, it was at the time the largest police corruption case in the history of the island in federal court. Our auntie from another auntie says, hi, Jerome. Hi, Amber. Please like, share, and follow. You guys have replay and watch the whole interesting, shocking news. It's also on our website, www.candidnews.com, the story that Johnny just gave to you, and also the story that I read, which we posted about 5 or 6 hours ago. Judge Ramona Manglonia, that's right. Rissa Delgado Castro says Guam's Liu administration isn't even prepared to prepare. John Salas says, Guam does not need outside race to destroy our island. Our local government is doing a good job at destroying our island.
Amen. But yeah, like I was saying, the privileged here on Guam if they don't have that conversation within themselves, that they have a problem. You know,
Yeah.
it can't be us telling them you have a problem, keeping us down, because then we sound like we're just complaining.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so we need to find people in that privileged area that are like us. You know, and I'm pretty sure there are.
Derek Kanata. Derek Munoz Kanata, Chalu. You're a rich second-class citizen, yo. We love you all. Thank you very
We love
much
you, Guam.
for joining us on this very special live cast of Candid News, where this is a day of reckoning for the corrupt, and it's a day of celebration and fireworks for us.
Good night.